So this is our evaporator for our sap for maple syrup. And we want to make a few modifications to it to make it a little better than it was last year. I'd put this stack on it, which is a piece of exhaust tubing. And I've noticed that we can get plenty of air in at this end. We're just not getting enough draft through on this size pipe. So we are going to see if we can put a bigger pipe on it. This pipe also has a damper on it. And all this stuff we got for free. The pipe came in a bunch of stuff we found in a barn. So we're going to attempt to cut this off of here and put that new pipe on. At this point, I need to give a word of caution to everybody watching. The older stovepipe, and even some of the newer stuff, a lot of times has galvanizing on it, and you need to get that galvanizing off of it before you try to weld on it. The welder, as it burns that galvanizing, actually puts off fumes that are absolutely horrible for you to breathe. It's definitely a danger when welding on this stuff, so if you're going to do this, make sure it's clean, bare steel and doesn't have any galvanizing coating on it. So in some of the parts that we got, we ended up with a stainless tray, which will be a good reservoir for us to put on to the evaporator. So I tacked together some angle iron here on the back of this pipe, and hopefully that can sit on there, something like that. And if I did it right, this end should sit down a little bit further than the other end. So I'm going to come in this end somewhere here and put in a fitting, and then we'll come out and hopefully take some copper pipe and we'll wrap around the stack, and hopefully that will preheat the sap coming out of the upper reservoir, and then we can just turn on a valve down at the bottom to do a drip into the main pan. We'll see how it ends up. So I got the pan on here. This is what it looks like. It's got some dirt in it. We need to clean it out yet. But I put a fitting in the bottom of it. We might have to move that to the bottom instead of the side to get all the liquid out of there. But this is going to be the reservoir for the sap. And then we come around this side, and I basically have a fitting on the base of that. And we go around our stack to preheat. And then at the bottom of this, we've got a valve that I should be able to just turn on to a drip or stream, or however much we want to go in there at a time. We debated on whether to put the valve at the bottom or at the top. So I actually had the discussion with Leanne about it on where we should put it, and we decided that we want, when this is going real slow, we actually want the sap backing up through here. What we don't want to have happen is this gets so hot on here that it boils the sap inside of here and burns. So hopefully this will be enough to feed out of here to preheat it, but not heat it so hot that it's boiling in there. The trick is we want to be putting warm sap into our main heating pan down here, because when you start pouring cold sap into there, it slows down the process. And if it's not at a full boil all the time, it slows everything down. You have to wait for it to come back to a boil. So that's the intent with that. I don't know if it's going to work or not. The trick is going to be seeing if we can get the amount that is evaporating off of here, the moisture when it evaporates off. I'm hoping that we can just turn this on to a slow trickle, something like this, maybe even slower than that. I don't know where it's going to be at, but even if it's just a drip like that, so that actually replenishes the sap down in here while the evaporation comes off of there and kind of balances. We want to keep that same liquid level, but keep it warm as it's going in. That's going to hopefully automate the process a little bit to where all we're going to have to do is dump our cold sap up into the top tray. At least that's the idea of it. We may have to make some modifications. I decided to wrap this 4 times around the pipe. I don't know if that's enough or if that's too much. This is all trial and error. This isn't a science like some of the ones that they've already got figured out. So I also think that maybe moving this fitting, I may weld that back up and put the fitting down in the bottom corner down here. So, because I think once it gets down to this level, we're not going to get any more sap out of this tray. And then we're going to have this little bit left in the bottom when it finishes. And then hopefully, once that completely finishes out, we can put water, like once we're completely finished, we'll turn the valve off, put water up top here, and then use that to rinse out the piping. You can put a cup underneath here or something and rinse through there so there's no sugar in these lines, so it doesn't burn while the tray finishes. But that's the idea. Hopefully it will speed up our process a little bit this year. We're planning on tapping a few more trees than before, so I'm hoping that we won't have to be cooking sap for hours and hours on end. I'm sure it'll still take some time, but I'd like to go in and go to bed before 2 a.m. During maple season. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We need the product. We've made maple syrup in the past, but I think this year we're going to try to make all maple sugar. And I think we have another video out on that if you guys want to take a look back last year about this time. We did show you guys making maple sugar and tapping some of the trees. We are only in the first week of February here, but the temperatures right now are looking like maple season is going to come a little early. I hope it doesn't mess everything up. We have a friend that lives down in Danville, Chris. I just talked to him today, and they tapped this weekend. They tapped yesterday, and he sent me a video, and he was actually getting some sap off of the tree. So I don't think we're too late yet, but we wanted to get this thing set up and be ready to go, so when the trees are ready, we can be ready.